What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, this video is for the OG Bobby Johnson. All right, this is one of my subscribers, Bobby Johnson, and I guess he felt some type of way about, and I can understand it. He felt some type of way about what I said in Tickets Chat yesterday, after the Bucks lost. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I'm a fan. Passions was running high, and I said something that I probably shouldn't have said. You know, I'll be honest with you. I shouldn't have said that. You know, and what I'm referring to is I said, how can a black person be a fan of the Boston Celtics? I shouldn't have said that. Look, sometimes what I'm saying it's a situation where when people only see the person that hits back. You know what I'm saying? You know, people don't see the person that throws the first blow. So what I'm referring to is last year I used to catch a lot of flack, all Milwaukee Bucks fans. It was this stupid ass game that some people play. You know, armchair revolutionary motherfuckers who uh, always trying to pull this bullshit where they try to press you into rooting for their team because Atlanta's the black team because they have a large black population. So why are you rooting for the Bucks? Even though Milwaukee has a sizable black population. But people just think of Wisconsin as, you know, this conservative uh, bastion of, farmers and, white folks and shit. Um, so a lot of that shit was going on last year. But a lot of the people who are bandwagoners that were doing that shit, just going from team to team, disgruntled Nets fans and all that shit. Then they went to Atlanta. They, earlier they was with the Brooklyn and all that shit. So, you know, I just find it interesting because I know a lot of people that's rooting for Boston are not Boston fans. And when you look at the history of Boston, the city, I just found it very, very hypocritical. So I was pissed off at the time. Now, I know that there are actual Boston Celtics fans, right? There are actual Boston Celtics fans out there. And that wasn't intended toward you, you know. But at the same time, I can see how that was offensive. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just doing this video to say, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, at the end of the day, I actually like the Boston Celtics organization. Even though the city of Boston does have a very uh, sordid history when it comes to racism, like in your face racism. Even Marcus Smart, the player, had a racial incident that occurred to him a couple years ago. But the city can be shameful, but the organization, Boston, has been very progressive. They were the first team, I believe, to draft a black player, and they were the first team to actually draft a player and build a team around him. That, of course, being Bill Russell. You know, they also drafted Casey Jones, the late Casey Jones, uh, who they later hired as a black coach. Um, they were the first team to have a all black starting lineup, that were predominantly black starting lineup. Red Auerbach was very progressive. The Boston Celtics have always been a progressive organization all the way through the Red Auerbach era. Now, I'm not vouching for Danny Ainge, okay? Not necessarily talking about the Danny Ainge era, but from the 50s through the 80s into the 90s, Boston was a great organization, all right? So, as a team, I salute Boston. The first, actually, the Minneapolis Lakers were the first dynasty, but Boston was, of course, the greatest dynasty. 11 championships in 13 years. I have all the respect in the world for Bill Russell, and there are a lot of great black players in the history of this franchise. Starting with Bill Russell, Sam Jones, of course, um, JoJo White, Charlie Scott. He was more of a star in the ABA. I believe he led the league in scoring one year, 34 points a game. But Charlie Scott, Nate Archibald later on, Cornbread Maxwell, fan favorites, ML Carr, uh, you know, Dennis Johnson, um, Robert Parrish, Chief. Then, of course, later on, Paul Pierce, KG, um, Ray Allen. So, yeah, I don't want to make it, I shouldn't have said that shit, man. But like I said, man, sometimes, man, when you, that's why I don't go on, that's why I don't like to go on forums and platforms too much, man, because sometimes I say shit that, you know, that's why I don't play video games with people. That's why I don't like debating people because sometimes I can get too passionate and I say shit I don't that can be interpreted as offensive and shit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's why I try to be level headed and shit. Just talk history and talk about basketball and all that shit, man. Because I'm too passionate when it comes to being a fan sometimes. Too passionate, uh, but yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, shout out to the Boston Celtics.